I am the people's champion. One man deep in my hood, Dan Clapton. They're like, fam, is that Adam over there? I'm like, yeah, I'm still bopping in my ends, fam, standard. And I know that I tweak things random, but I can't help that I speak my mind. I don't wanna get bogged down by the bullshit.
Hey guys, it's the Snail Mail. I'm just taking a late night walk, and I decided to take a break and sit on the bench here. This is actually pretty close to the outskirts of town. Our town isn't that big. Our town center is maybe like a mile away from the exit, which is a weird. It's not exactly centered, is what I'm saying. Like the downtown area is just a singular street that's kind of lopsided, where our town stretches over onto one side, and the other side it kind of stretches for a while, but then it becomes a different community altogether. Like it gets more and more spread out until it becomes a different community. Same thing on the other side as well. So basically, yeah, I just stopped here because the lighting is really good and whatnot, so I can kind of see myself for the most part. Yeah, so I just felt like making a quick little vlog because, you know, it's a very nice night out, and I figured I'd get some exercise, you know, clear my head from the things that go on in the day. I was supposed to have money today, but unfortunately the guy who was gonna pay me, he forgot. So yeah, now I have to wait till next week, which is kind of a bum rap. You know, I mean, it's not a bunch of money. It's just a little job I did for him over the weekend, and he was by today, but I didn't bother him, and he was talking to some people outside, and I didn't want to bug him. So I just left him be, and then I find out a couple hours later, I'd say maybe an hour later, I figured he'd come to the door or something, and you know, I called his phone just in case he was in the building downstairs doing something or whatever, and he had left town, and just straight up left. So that kind of left me SOL for the day, well, for the week, because when I found, he's like, I'm not gonna be back in town for quite a while. So that's where I sit. So yeah, I'm just taking my nightly walk, and one thing I hate about the winter that I will not be sad when it's gone is that the moisture in my breath, because my mustache always gets so shiny, and it does not look good because it's got the moisture all up in it, which is a frustrating thing to say the least. It's weird, I'll tell you one thing, to hear cars this late at night, because I'm sitting here and every few minutes a car will go by, and it's really late for cars to be coming into my town. Usually people are leaving, like they'll have done whatever they came to do, going out to their rural community home or whatever. But for the most part, people don't come back into town. Usually they head out. So, like, I mean, yeah, people come in, but it's like one every half an hour, 2 hours maybe. Like, you know, there's not many cars that run through here. But tonight it's just been car after car after car. It seems like it's gonna be one of those nights, you know, where it's just gonna be busy, busy, busy. I'm not gonna stay here too long because, you know, it's cold out. You can't see my breath, but I can. So yeah, so I ran out of footage time there, so I just deleted some older videos on my camera that I had, and I'm kind of entering the dock zone area. But yeah, so anyways, what did I say last? Oh, yeah, it's cold enough to see my breath out here, but not cold enough to actually get a chill, if that makes any sense to you guys. But yeah, I'm on the move now, so the camera is gonna get like randomly dark and randomly bright. But yeah, that's a nice lighting. I'm just heading home now on my walk. Walked all the way up here. Now I turn around and do the exact opposite back. But I tell you one thing, it's been a day for me, because he totally forgot. He came by, like he was in town today, but he never came by my place to drop off what he owed me. So basically he's like, oh well, I had to go down to so and so, which is 45 minutes away, and he went down to the city, and well, I'm I'm screwed till next week, basically. I mean, I'm not screwed. I have other things going on. But for the most part, it was like, bro, you asked me to do something, I did it for you, and then you basically just stiffed me. But no, I mean, it's not the first time something like this has happened, so hopefully, I mean, it's the first time with him, but so hopefully he'll actually come by next week and, you know, we'll sort it out and we'll get it sorted. It's just unfortunate because I could have really used it this week, you know, I could have, I don't know, got snacks or something that I felt like getting, because I'm quite frugal unless I have extra cash, so... Oh well, right? I mean, out of bad days, it's not the worst thing that can happen. I mean, the worst thing that can happen is like he's not coming over, and I just so happen to need that exact amount of money to save my mother's life because there's kidnappers from Iran or ISIS or whatever trying to, like, you know, extort me for money, even though I would be the literal worst target to extort for money. Oh, give me your money. Bad news, I've got about 60 cents in ad revenue. You can try to take that, but I mean, I was mad, obviously, like, not getting my money, blah, 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 but I don't like to hold on to feelings like that, so I just try to let it go, and hope for the best next week when he does come by. Maybe I'll get lucky and he'll come into town earlier because, you know, he feels like he has an obligation, but most people these days don't. Like, if it was me and I owed someone money from a job I asked them to do, you bet the day I told them they'd have that money, they have that money. Like, you can bet your, ironically, you can bet your last dollar on me doing that, because I'm that type of person. I'm not gonna sit there and I'm not gonna ask you to do something and then try to stiff you or, you know, forget or whatever. I mean, if I forget, like, naturally, actually forget, then usually the person will remind you on that day. In my case, I didn't want to bother him because he was, you know, I figured he'd just come by, but I found out later that he just slipped his mind. And I hope that is all it is. I hope it just slipped his mind, because it would make me really sad if he intentionally did something like that, especially when, well, originally I offered to do this job, and I just offered to do it because it had so basically it was a no problem issue, and I was like, oh, I'll have time, I could do that, and then yeah, and he's like, oh, well, I'll pay you for it, and I'm like, all right, well, we'll just make it a small number, an easy number to attain. So I just said $30 and I'll get the job done for you. It won't take me more than a couple days anyway. And he's like, yeah, okay. And then come time to, he's back in town, this happens. So I really truly want to believe it was just a mistake on his part, or I don't know, maybe I'm not finished the job, like I finished the job, but I mean, there's probably something that I could still do, if anything, some like minor details when it comes to yard work and whatnot. I'll be right back, guys. I'm back, guys, and I just finished my quote-unquote Foodland run. We ran out of soup again, just so you know. Only this time I didn't get a bunch, I just got a little bit. Yeah, I was just a bit hungry, and we ran out of soup again, so I made a soup run. This is something I do actually quite frequently, if you haven't realized by now. Anybody who's actually managed to sit through these. I'll come out and I'll grab random snacks or food. I mean, really, it's whatever. Mostly it'll be chips, but lots of times it'll be soup. I mean, if it's just for me, I usually get soup. If it's for everyone in my household, I get snacks, because I don't want to cook for everyone, I just want to cook for me. When winter fades, change starts to pop up just everywhere. Like, you'll just, you'll look down, you'll be walking, and you'll see a toonie or something. Especially in our town, because we got a lot of people. I'm not even going to be nice about it. We got a lot of drunks. We got a lot of drinkers in this town, so, you know, walk by the bar, you're probably going to either have an encounter with a couple extremely intoxicated individuals at some point, or if not an encounter with intoxicated individuals, you will encounter someone who either asks you if you know where to get drugs, or has drugs, or it's kind of stupid. It's kind of, you know, the way people live down here. It's not to say everyone lives like that. It's just high numbers of people at AA and whatnot. You know, just like a very troubled situation when it comes to drinking. Like try to pull an example from my actual life. A friend I had a few years back, not had, still friend, sort of. He got really into drinking. Like, basically, he'd buy a case every weekend, and then it got to the point where he'd buy a case any day he could. And that kind of habit, when it comes to alcohol, is not only dangerous, it's extremely irresponsible. Because, I mean, if you're spending $30 on a case of beer, and let's say you do drink that all by yourself, that'll last you a couple days, maybe. But you can't guarantee with some of these people. Like, for some reason, drinking beer is a competition, for sure. Like, specifically beer. I mean, everything else, I mean, you can make it into a competition, shots, whatever. But in the specific case of just beer, it's like everybody has their number, right? Like, oh, I can drink 7 beers in the course of a night and I'll be fine. Oh, I can drink 12. Oh, I can drink 20. And it's like, you're drinking more than 3 or 4 a night? Or, you know, I mean, a weekend it makes sense to have some, but to indulge to the point where you know exactly how many you can take before blacking out, like, you know, like, I don't mean like exact as in, oh, last time I drank this much and then I was wasted. I mean, they literally have days of data. Like, okay, I got to 8-9 beers today, and then I can't remember what happened after that. So that's basically the type of people I'm talking about. They are almost so indulgent in it that it's the only thing they think about for most of the time. I mean, all the time. Like, in general, they're just thinking about how to get that next 2-4 for the weekend or for the Tuesday that's following or whatever. It's really, whatever. It's just a bad scenario, you know what I mean? Well, I'm back home, guys, so I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.
One man deep in my hood down Clapton. They're like, fam, is that Adam over there? I'm like, yeah, I'm still bopping in my ends fam standard. And I know that I tweet things random, but I can't help that I speak my mind. I don't wanna get bogged down by the bullshit. All I wanna do is just live my life.